Hey, what's going on, folks, and happy Monday. Welcome to Variety and Airs, where we're going to go through some pocket change. I had a little bit of a busy weekend. I usually try to put out a video or two over the weekend, but unfortunately I couldn't get to that. But hey, here we are now. 2013 Series $1 note. Little bit of a shift here where it's sitting a little low, but well within what's acceptable. A little bit of damage to the portrait of Washington there, so that's going to detract from any value if it were collectible, but nothing in the serial number and nothing jumping out at me as far as colors or anything like that, ink issues, any type of error with actual production of the note. So keep it on. Here we go, nice little star note. If you watch any of my videos, you know that I love star notes. They're replacement notes, so essentially something happened to the note in production, so they replaced it at the BEP with another note, this guy here, and dropped the letter on the end of the serial number and replaced it with a star to show it's a replacement note. This is a little bit older series, 2013. Now we're into 2017 series. We don't really see as much as stuff really pre-2009 series, but still similar, if not the same things to look for. Of course, star notes for something minorly collectible. Fancy serial numbers, trinary notes, patterns in the serial numbers, radar bills, ladders, birthday notes. And if you're interested in basically like, what the heck does any of that mean? And you're new to the channel, then go back to a video that's, it's one of the most recent, or can't speak this morning, most viewed videos. And it's entitled 15 plus banknotes you can find in your pocket change. That'll run through all the main stuff. That's cool. I'll set that aside. I like star notes. 2013 series. This one's in a lot better condition. This is really what you're kind of looking for as far as circulated notes. Of course, it's not pristine or anything, but in a lot better condition than those other two. Good clump of fours. I get asked about kind of clumps of numbers, so this is a good example of one I received a question about the other day, which was, oh, it was sevens in that case, but the gentleman asked, well, I have 4 sevens on the end and they're clumped together, but then he had something similar to this, 9 1 4 5, so a total random array of numbers. That's not going to be anything over a dollar value in this case. So when it comes to grouped digits in the serial number, it still has to have some repetition across it. For example, I'll go to the next bill and show you. Like this one has 2323. If they were together and it was, let's say 04042323, then that's good enough repetition to where I would say it might be worth a little overface to the right collector. But without it being a while back, I got one that was 000 and then 2 sevens and then 000. That would be a lot better of a note. One, because it's a radar note, also because it's a repeater note. So it kind of had a twofold collectible factor to it. Nice and beat up. What looks to be the edge of a counter stamp. So that's what that is, that line there. So when the strap sits across the bill in whatever way, they're not always centered on the bills. And the bank counter personnel kind of stamps the bill for receiving or sending it out. They kind of miss the strap, and that's why that, if you notice here, at the top of the line, it actually takes a right turn, and that's the edge of that stamp. They're generally rectangular or circular, but I see more rectangular ones than anything else. Next bill. Almost have a trinary here. If we would have had threes again instead of these fives or twos, we would have had 8, 9s, and 3s. So trinary notes are something to look for. Another thing to look for is shifts in the serial numbers, like I mentioned before. This one shifted down and to the left slightly, and generally you'll see that that shift in this, especially this seal here, the Department of the Treasury seal, correspond to a slight shift in the serial numbers as they're printed during a similar process, during a multi-phase printing process for our currency here in the US. But nothing there, nice and beat up. A lot of them have little tears. This one's got a blue mark right up here at the top from a pen or something like that. So if it were collectible, that would detract from from the value somewhat. Like I mentioned earlier, 2009 series is kind of the older, I say older because it's not really that old, but older series of bills that we'll come across. Of course there's 90s bills that we see here and there in the bill searches, but with these circulated notes out of pocket change from stores and stuff, 2009 is going to be kind of like the lower end of the spectrum, or older end of the spectrum, I should say. Actually got a little bit of ink issues right around the swirls here. Now it's hard for me to tell if that's just damaged the bill. You can see it's been folded twice, as well as probably gotten wet before, or just a lot of handling with oils from hands and stuff like that. They are all circulated, and that's that discoloration you see around the margins of the bill here. So it's hard for me to tell if that's actually something with the bill, and I'm referring to these little dots of ink that are above this swirl there. I would assume that's just damage. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Here we go, nice $20 STARNOTE. Wish there wasn't this fold right here, probably from a wallet or being put in a purse or a sock or whatever this person kept their stuff in, or multiple people did. 2013 series, of course kind of the newer version of the $20 note, or newest, at least design, in respects to design, the newest version of the $20 note. They changed the note up in the early 2000s for anti-counterfeiting measures, and this is a STARNOTE, so similar as that previous $1 note, it is a replacement note. And I could plug this serial number into, there's some good websites. I mean, aside from our website, VarietyErrors.com, there are some really good ones. One of them is My Currency Collection. You can search STARNOTE search there, and it'll tell you the run size of the bill, series, stuff like that, and you can determine, okay, cool, I got a STARNOTE now what do I do with it? And you can see the amount of STARNOTEs in that run, and then kind of determine from there its rarity level. This one's a little beat up, so if I was trying to sell it to a STARNOTE collector, I would not expect to get really anything above face value. But, to a buddy or something that collects STARNOTEs, I would just trade him the $20 note to be a pal. But in this case, I love STARNOTEs, and I don't get a lot of 20s, so I'm going to hold on to it. One thing I do want to point out before I put it away, or put it to the side, is right here, you can see that excess of ink there. And that's very common. So that's just a press through the front here of generally that seal or the serial number. You'll kind of see a little bit through, and a lot of people confuse that with stray ink from where they printed these bushes and trees here. That is not the case generally. However, if it was very dramatic, I'd probably hold on to it. But I'm going to set it aside because it's a STARNOTE. Boom! And then we follow it right up with a TRINARY note. Really, really close to a binary note of 2s and 8s. This one's also seen its day. I mean, whew. For a 2013 bill, very beat up. It's lacking ink a little bit, but I would assume on that serial number where it's kind of on that C there, if you notice that. Little bit of lack of ink. I would say just from age. You can see that this has been run through the gutter a couple of times. But nice little TRINARY. I mean, something to hold on to for a $1 bill, but this one's really beat up. But I'm going to set it aside. I don't see anything on the back there. And we are close to a broken ladder. If we had a couple different digits, so something to look out for when you're bill searching would be broken ladders where you have, say, 1, 2, 3 instead of that, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would have been stellar. And that's generally, that would be digits in ascending or descending order, but they are not necessarily in order in the serial number. If they were, then you'd have a lot more collectible bill that is worth a little bit over face. There's also a lack of ink here. You can see it looks like he's got a bunch of lint caught on his coat. It's actually where it just didn't put down the ink properly over the coat of Washington there. But overall, this bill's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's in better shape than the ones that we've seen. And this little quote-unquote thumbprint looking thing here is actually just a press-through of Washington's jacket from the front. You can also see a bit of a press-through of the serial number, but it's not dramatic enough for me to say it's collectible. But it is something to look out for, so keep an eye out for that. And close again, we don't have a 5 in there. If we would have had a 5, this is a better example of a broken ladder. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if we would have had a 5, 6, 7 would have been awesome. I would have held on to that. Over ink on the 3rd digit from the left. That's very common, as you know. We see those all the time. Nice and beat up otherwise. Got a nice tear here, fold over here. Seen its day, but hey, it's still worth $1 and we can go buy a soda with it or something. Kind of moving along. 2013 bill. Folded also. Looks like at one point it might have had tape on it or something random. But, you know, people do some funky stuff with their money. Plus $1 bills are going to be the most beat up ones you're going to come across. They are the most heavily circulated denomination of U.S. Federal Reserve note. They also have the shortest amount of life. So when you see a, for example, like this guy next, 2009 is actually far past its life, or it's actually hitting about the end of it. They usually last between 5 and 8 years before they are kind of seized by the bank when they get them back. That's neither here nor there, just a little tidbit about them. And lots of discolor to that one, just from age and handling and stuff like that. Sorry to have my fat hand in the way. Let's look at the back of the bill. Now, with the amount of damage here, it'd be very hard to determine if some things like, for example, a good example would be right here, where there's some extra ink color. As you can tell, that's a totally different shade of greenish blue, almost like a teal. And that's not a color used in the bills. So that one would be the first determining factor. Also, if it was a shade similar, it'd be hard to determine if it's an actual error due to the condition of the bill. I mean, it could just simply be from wear and tear, so just set that aside. Here's a newer bill. So this is the only one I think we've come across from 2017 series. The only difference is the signatures on there. Aside from that, I don't see anything stellar to talk about. Crazy bunch up here. It's been wet. I know you can't tell really through the camera, but from where that wrinkling is together on states essentially, but specifically across the whole thing, that's from it being wet. It was folded. I'll just fold it. It was folded and then got wet. So that's where that rippling effect comes from. It's also torn right there. So if it was collectible over $1, that would detract from value. As per usual, nice writing on some bills. Every time we go through a bill search, there's usually writing on it. People love to write on bills. Why not? So they had $53 at some point. You know, you got to remember your moolah, pay your cell phone bill and stuff. Nothing other than that. Nice little shift though. It's actually sitting below that end there, so if it was any further, I'd hold on to it for the shift and the seal there. But that writing really detracts from any value over face if it were collectible. We also have quite a bit of discoloration from just general wear and tear, age to the bill, so I don't see anything otherwise. And last but not least, another Series 2013 bill. Little bit of schmudgel on it right above Washington there, that kind of brown spot, probably coffee or something. Nothing in the serial number, no fancy serial numbers. And I don't see anything on the back. So, what did we hold on to this bill search? Kind of a basic trinary note. I'm more holding on to this one because I like trinaries. It was close to a binary note, but something to look out for. And then a couple of star notes. I love star notes, so I always try to hold on to them. This $20 note's in a little bit better condition than the $1 note, but both of them are great little replacement notes, so I'm glad I found those. Better than nothing. Let me know what you've come across in your bill searches lately, and coin searches in the comments below, and otherwise, I hope you are not having a manic Monday. I will see you tomorrow in another bill search video and with some more coin and currency news. Thank you for joining Variety and Errors. Hit the subscribe and the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.